The history of State Line Liquors is pretty interesting. We were moved here from the original business in right downtown Elkton, which opened up right after Prohibition ended. The store started out as a liquor store, just selling booze and a little bit of wine and all that, but the parking lot was full of bootleggers and going into PA and Delaware. The wine evolved after that by my sister and brother and our other partner. And after college, I came in and we decided I had an interest in the beer business. We had one door of imported beer and craft brew, which was probably Sierra Nevada and Sam Adams, and then it became a hobby, and then it got out of control to probably right about 2,800 different beers right now in the store. I think the first craft beer that we carried was Sam Adams Lager, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I'm thinking there was also Anchor Steam, and they might have been the three trends. The import market may be a little bit soft as far as where the beer is. The trends are right now. A really heavy emphasis on craft beer. They want to know what's new. It's craziness. We like to do the growlers are really hot. People want the fresh beer. Right now we have 10 taps, and that'll be 16 taps in about another month. So the trends are there's still a bunch of hopheads out there. I think the IPAs are still hot, and I can't imagine that's going to calm down. It's just going to keep growing. But still, as far as other beers that are the import market, there's some nice specialty stuff that people are still looking for. Still looking for the finer Belgian ales. Some of the other imports, BFM out of Switzerland. I mean, Jerome's making some great beers, and the Italian market, which we've talked about before a lot, they're making some great beers, but still a little bit price prohibitive. But very creative beers going on over there. Our history of selling growlers started maybe 6 years ago. We kind of did a little ask around with the local liquor board here in Maryland. Each county has its own liquor board. They kind of went, well, we don't see anything against it. There's no law against it. We poured growlers for about 1.5 years, and the business was growing. We only had I think we were doing 4 taps. About 1.5 years later, we got a call from the state liquor board that said, "You guys aren't allowed to do that." We said, "Well, why not?" And, they didn't give us a valid reason, so we kind of kept doing it. Then all of a sudden, we got the official letter that said you have to cease and desist from selling growlers. That only brew pubs could do that. So for 4.5 years we were fighting this, and it's amazing that you have to fight something that's going to be good for the consumer, good for the government as far as the revenue, more tax dollars rolling in. But as of this past July 1st, we got our growler license back, and it's been fun. It's cool doing the draft beer. We see a lot of new customers in, people that want the fresh beer, that look for the fresh beer. And there's a little bit of a market around here that it's started it. There's some brew pubs around here like Iron Hill Brewing, which does a fantastic job. They originally started in Newark, and they were helpful in a lot of ideas and all that. And even though, I'm probably taking some of their business, but I think it's helping their business because we're promoting the craft industry, and we promote Iron Hill a lot. They're great people. I think it's going to still be totally nuts. I think we're going to, the growth is still unlimited, I think, because of consumers getting into the market. There's the young college kids when we were in college, we weren't drinking good beer. We were drinking, Keystone Ice and Natty Ice, and now when schools in Delaware, the aisles are full of kids getting, picking mixed sixes all the time. It's a big thing. I think they're going to be big into the growlers also. I see a little bit of a shakeout maybe. I think in the late 80s and early 90s we saw that where the craft beer industry went flat. There was a lot of bad beer out in the market, and the consumer was still coming into the store getting, well, let me get a six-pack of something that I know that I like, and let me say, what else you got new, Robert? And so they would pick something else, and then it was like they'd go home and go, they were finally getting tired of drinking bad beer with that second pick. Kind of went back to the mainstays, and the big shakeout started. And I think the industry learned a lesson from that, but even now I see a little bit of I see it a little bit creeping in now, but the consumers are a little bit wary of it. But some of the newer ones aren't, and once in a while you know. So I think for the first time ever, I used to try to buy any craft beer out there and any imported beer that I could get to just have another facing, because it was the goal just to have as many beers as anybody in the world. But here we were going, I'm starting to weed out. I'm starting to choose between beers and not bringing certain ones in. And I think it's a good decision, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. My favorite beer style, I have a couple. Every day I'm an IPA drinker, but I love my Imperial Stouts. And as far as a favorite beer, that's a very difficult question. I get it every day. It's what I'm enjoying right now. In my fridge at home right now, on draft, I have the Ballast Point Sculpin IPA, and I have the Maine Peeper. They're great beers, but always, last night when I came home from work, I knew I had them, but I brought my 4-pack of Old Rasputin home, and I guess that's probably the house beer, and maybe that is my favorite beer, Old Rasputin. We have the 10 growler fills in the back, and the only one that stays on tap all the time is Old Rasputin. So that's, I guess,
that's the one.
That's the one.
Not a bad choice at all.